The factor or component that has been the true catalyst in transforming Counter-Strike Global Offensive esports from just a decent esport with, within IP, very games, a couple of good teams, and they're having, within their own context, some good tournaments, and we've got history and stuff, into this global game now where we have these majors that are like world championships with hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're now even having offline qualifiers where teams will fly in from around the world just for a chance to compete in this world championship. All these North American orgs are picking up teams, and you can see the game getting bigger and bigger, up to 1 million viewers for ESL 1 Katowice recently. What kick-started all that, and what was kind of like the force which allowed that change, that transformation, was quite clearly the crowdfunding element in Counter-Strike. Like, yes, there's a degree to which it was, okay, skins had to exist because you have to have that to create the cases, and then betting needs to exist because you need that to get some of the viewers on the stream who may not initially have thought to watch the match, but they'll watch to see who's going to win and to get a sense of who to bet for. These factors are all tangential, all necessary. But if you didn't have this crowdfunding, we wouldn't have the big tournaments. And if we didn't have the big tournaments, well, we saw the numbers weren't there. You couldn't get to those 100k type numbers. And if you didn't have the big tournaments, you wouldn't have every single great team there. You wouldn't have every team from around the world trying to compete there. If you didn't have the big majors, you wouldn't have the legitimacy of this is a world championship. Before that, you became world champion by winning X amount of events. You became one of the great teams by, you could get to 100k winning in a year, but you had to win a lot of events. Now you can do it in one event. What got us here was the crowdfunding component. We all know that comes to the cases. You buy the esports case, you can get a skin from it, but then of the money you give to Valve, they take a percentage of it. I think it's like a third or a quarter, and then they put it into the kitty. And once that builds up to 250k, we have a major, and we've had 5 of them so far. 1 at the end of 2013, 3 in 2014, and we had the first one, ESL 1 Katowice, in March of 2015, so this month. So this is the backbone of the esports side of CSGO at this point in time. But it could be taken further, because as great as it is in CSGO, and I think in terms of circuit, we're very lucky. I think we have one of the absolute best. I think it's better than League of Legends, it's better than StarCraft 2. These components added in, the vetting, the skins, these aspects is great, but the crowdfunding aspect actually still lacks a bit in terms of what they have in Dota 2. Because, first of all, as a fan, you don't have any say over how a major's held, when a major's held, where a major's held, what is a major. You don't have a say over how much money's on offer at a major. You have no say except the fact that you want a major to exist, therefore as kind of just a blank universal issuance of, like, I would like a major to exist. You can buy a case, you donate some money, and eventually, some way or some form, someone's going to have a major, that money is going to be part of it, and we're going to have the event. Okay, that's great, there's a way to donate, but there's a way it can go further, and that you guys can have say, and I can have say, and we can actually encourage the best parts of CSGO esports to become and flourish, so we can have an even better esport, better circuit, better tournaments, better majors, better everything. So at the moment, the big problem is when we give this money, we just give it to Valve like a caretaker and say, okay, take your percentage, take the rest, and you figure it out. You know better than us. You just get the right company to host the major, give them the prize purse. I'm sure they'll do a good job, and let's have a good tournament. And yeah, it's worked to a degree. Some of the majors have been a bit more hit and miss in terms of the venue they're held in, or how much money they spent on certain aspects, or what format they used. Did they use a good schedule? Did they only schedule 2 or 3 days? There's all different areas you can debate over depending on personal taste. But there's a way in Dota 2 that they've added in that you can actually directly support and choose yourself how your money is used. And what it is it's the compendium system. Instead of selling cases, in a degree they're not quite as advanced because they're not going for skins, but they have this idea where what you do is, for esports, you buy a compendium. And a compendium is sort of like a book that explains about the tournament that you're in. Like, here's the teams that are playing. That's all this information, and it's equivalent of buying like an old school. If you're an old school football fan, like a what do you call it? Like a preview or whatever you call it of a program. That's what it's called, where it explains who's going to play today and it has little articles in it. So the idea is you buy one of those for the tournament you want to support, and it's not just the international that has it. It's not just the top 2 or 3 or 4 tier 1, tier 2 events that have it. There's tons of these events have them in Dota 2. I think they might be up to like maybe 8 or 10 a year. There's quite a lot you have them. And what happens is once you get a compendium set up for your event, the public then choose which one they want to buy the compendium for. And if they buy the compendium for StarLadder is going to have its own prize pool, but then you can see how much the fans are raising on top of that. And sometimes on a lot of these compendiums, the fans raise more than 100% of what the prize money was. So suddenly, if StarLadder had been 100k prize pool, now it's got 250k prize pool, all because fans decide, right, I like StarLadder's format, I like the teams that they've got there, you know, I like the rule set they use, I like the time of year it is, so I'm going to fund that one. I'm going to make sure that's a success, because I can't wait to see these teams play, and it's going to encourage my favourite team to go there more. All these different factors that can go into it. So the public gets to decide who to support, okay? It's not just you put it in and you just hope that, like, oh, I hope DreamHack gets the winter one, otherwise, you know, maybe it won't be as good, maybe that's my favourite event, maybe I like the way that's held, I like the vibe of it. Also, it actually encourages organisers to cater to you, the fan, to the person who could donate the money and make their tournament bigger. So it encourages them to offer special things. Now, within the context of compendiums in Dota 2, this is called stretch goals. So if you've ever seen a Kickstarter or anything like that, the idea is, yeah, they want to get to a certain sum of money. That's the Kickstarter concept. But the way they encourage it is, instead of just be like, give us any amount, like, oh, it's cool, they'll make it, okay, you give us $1, you get this. You give us $10, you get this. You give us $100, you get this. Now in Dota 2, listen, you still get the compendium. You pay a certain amount, you get the compendium. But the idea is, once enough people have bought compendiums, they have stretch goals for what they'll give you at the event. So they might give you all sorts of crazy things. Maybe the event, I mean, listen, I can't think of what off the top of my head the limits of it are, because I've only seen a few of them. But listen, maybe the event will have a special all-star game mode, so we get to X amount at this point. Maybe we'll have a crazy host that will fly in, some famous person everyone loves. That'll be another stretch goal. And once you hit all these, so once the compendium's been bought more and more and more, and the prize purse has been pumped up, then you're going to have lots of extra crazy extras that you wouldn't have in a normal tournament. So think about what this could provide for CSGO if we had this. First of all, it means that, listen, like, for example, the old StarLadder events, I used to love those, where it was the 4-team offline, you just only got the best teams, and then they played this best-of-3 double elim. If I'd heard that had had any issues in the past, I would definitely support that. I want to see great teams there. Yeah, I love seeing the majors and all the rest of it, but this is a different flavour, so I love to see, like, Titan play against Nip, play against Envy, play against Virtus Pro, but then no, because it's double elim, they're going to play multiple times, and it's a proper best-of-3, and they're not having to play bullshit group stage first. They just go straight into the top competition, and then whoever wins there, it's like a real, like, battle royale of the top teams. So in this particular world, I would definitely support an event like that. Whereas there's certain other events where they're big events, they're cool events, they have their own charm, but yeah, it's not for me, you know. I don't like the way that how short an amount of time they schedule over, depending on their format, or they use things that I don't like random third map selection, or they have cobblestone in there. There's all sorts of different factors where I personally would rather my money went somewhere else. And also that I could encourage the smaller events, which don't have a lot of money, to be able to flourish, because I think they're awesome events. So that's one thing the compendium aspect will help. And in our case, we don't need compendiums. It can just be CSGO cases, as we've already seen. We can all get skins out of it. So everyone knows the benefit you're going to get from buying the cases there. And it's actually better because you'll buy more cases because you want to get more skins, obviously. So here's a great stretch goal I even thought of that people could offer. Imagine there's an event that's like a cool event, but it needs to get like 100 grand more to really be like a level of a major or something, because, you know, for their level of sponsorship and all this, they can't get much more. I mean, listen, some of the majors can't get that much. They need the money free from Valve handed to them on plate to even do stuff that's half as good as some of these other great events. Imagine there was an event, the stretch goals were like this. Every time they hit a stretch goal, they're going to add in production elements that we all want to see. So you know what ESL1 kind of eats it? A lot of us had complaints about certain people weren't hired, and we wish the setup had been a certain way. Imagine some stretch goals like this. So I've done like 3 tiers here. So the first thing we want is those awesome casters, don't we? We want the voices that we all love to hear that really define the game and create those memorable moments. Imagine stretch goals, not like 1, 2, and 3 were the casters. Once they hit this number of esports cases sold, not only are they going to put in the money in the prize purse and all the rest of it, but they're going to hire Tosspot, they're going to hire Anders, they're going to hire Assembler. All 3 of our favourites. These voices that we've heard at all those great tournaments, and we want to hear at the next great tournament. So there's the first one. And then if it goes up and they get even more money, now we're going to add in some colour commentators. You all know the kind of lack we have for colour commentators, really good ones. Well, maybe they need more money. Maybe they need to set something aside specifically for them, like just come to this one. And hey, the public showing support also maybe make it more. So let's say your next stretch goals is you get all the colour casters you want. You get Fifth Laren, you get DDK, you get Lurpis. These are the guys who can break the game now. They have their own perspective on it, all coming from totally radically different areas. They have a lot of history. They've watched tons and tons of CSGO going way back. These are the guys we want to hear break it down with those voices that we all know and love. Then we go third step. Now we've got analysis. We've got analysts. Which analysts do we want to add in there? Well, there's obvious ones. For Flaren again. He did a great job at MLG. DreamHack Winter. He's really starting to get into that role. We've got, I think DDK can do that. We've got Lurpis, obviously another good one. He's done quite a lot of events there. I've done quite a lot myself. I'm obviously rather good. There's a whole bunch of people can go in there. Now let's go next level. If we want to have the ideal event, maybe we need an awesome host. Well, my favourite Sir Scoots. He's got so much years experience, so many years off the camera with production stuff that he really knows how to hit those cues and how to set an event up and how to fill time so it doesn't look like you're just filling time on camera. It looks like, hey, we're having a cool discussion about something really interesting and important to the game here, but then go into player stuff and bring different players in. He's really good at it. But you know what? This guy, he doesn't need to get like X amount per month or whatever and fly to wherever in the world. It has to be a special event for him. You have to pay a decent amount for him to be able to fly in and be able to do his job that particular way, because this guy's a professional who's had a full career in his life and has other things in his life, so you have to make it worth as well. So that could be a stretch goal once you hit a certain amount that allows us to hire him. And so you can see here, in this sense, the fans could decide if they really do want all these factors to have them all involved by these being some kind of stretch goal, etc. Now, we don't have to sit around crying like, Valve, give me stretch goals, compendium. Like, you don't have to wait for Valve to do it. They're not the ones who have to do this. But in general, because of how we've already got a system established through Steam and that everyone knows what the case is and you get the benefit of the skin, that would be the ideal way to do it. It would be the obvious way to make a bridge between that and the compendium system from Dota 2, and then we could have a lot more say. Now, listen, maybe Valve don't want that. Maybe they'll want us to decide where the events are, which is more money than one of their majors that they give them. Hey, listen, that could be a factor, but I'm just thinking from our perspective here. Now, there are ways to do it without doing that. You can go ghetto style and you can just essentially, first of all, you could literally just make it where if someone subscribes to your Twitch, a percentage of that goes in the prize purse. So you're trying to get people to watch that way, which is what PGL's done. This tournament is going to be at Bucharest in April. I think it's April 26th, 27th. And they essentially did that. If you subscribe to their Twitch and it's got an online league, then they're going to put some of that into the prize purse or something along those lines. There's another aspect, which is if you're someone who knows how to get items created, cool skins and whatnot, little badges and stickers of your own, you can get those added to Valve if they're popular enough, added to Steam, and then you can sell them through Steam and you could make the profits off that and put it into events. So it's not like we have to hope Valve hear this message or just come to this conclusion of their own, but I think it's been proven as a method that's going to work. It's going to help provide more power in terms of like your purchasing power. So if you want to spend those $10 on whatever the case is, I want it to be a world where as a result you're also getting kind of a choice, okay, and I like this and I want to support this person and this event and this system and this, I think this is a good time of year, and you know what, hey, this event over here does everything right, so let's make that a major just in terms of the money. It doesn't have to be a major like sanctioned by Valve, these are the 3 majors, the World Championship, but let's just pump up the money for it because that's an event we all want to support. I know there's events like that, there's been in the past where I love the format of them, you know. So I think this will be a cool aspect to add, and I hope some way, either through the official means or through some kind of ghetto system like this can become a part of CSGO esports. So then we have not only the best circuit, but we add in this extra functionality and these other ways of making it bigger and making it cooler. Oh, as I should probably mention now, my CSGO videos, much like my League of Legends videos, are all sponsored by Vulcan. So if you want to play Fantasy Counter-Strike Global Offensive, go to vulcan.com and they've got a sign-up bonus there if you use the code Thorin with 3 O's, so THOOORIN, and they'll match up to $1,000, whatever you want to deposit. And then you can pick a play day of games and you have a little roster of players that you have to fill up, and you get a little salary cap. So whatever the salary cap is, listen, if you want to buy some amazing player like Shocks, yeah, you're not going to have as much left for the others, so you're going to have to be really shrewd about which lesser name player do I pick here to fill in that spot, and you have to fill in your whole roster, and at the end of the day they calculate the fantasy points for them all after the games have been played, and if you finish second you get the second place prize. I think you guys know how it works. So if you want to play some fantasy CSGO, or League of Legends by the way, but I'm assuming CSGO for this video, then vulcan.com. Thanks a lot guys.